Hello everyone, Anina back for another weekly world update for Vivid Earth. How's everyone doing? Let me know in the comments how you're feeling. Hopefully much better after last week. So much energy blasted the planet that I think some of us were feeling a little bit, shall we say, under the weather. But the energy seems to be a lot better this week, and I hope you're having a fabulous week. So, guys, what's been happening on the world stage? Whoa. Well, I mean, Zelensky got booted out of the White House, and that whole thing didn't seem to go down so well with people around the world. I, for one, have been thrust into normie land over on Facebook, where I'm seldom on, but I decided to maybe, look into Facebook again, spend a bit more time there, and try and see if I can plant some seeds with people. So I see all these posts coming up in my feed talking about how absolutely horrific Trump is and what he's done for the world, and it's just like so terrible and embarrassing for the US, and they're heading for total, decline. It's been a lot, guys. I know that I've always seen myself as a bit of a bridge between, the old world that I was in, the business world, the world where everything is so great because we've got it all figured out. Uh, you know, I was one of those people too. Life was great. I was at the top of my game. We felt very smart and intelligent and kept ourselves busy with all sorts of things like, going to fabulous events, traveling the world, going to Fashion Week, going to polo events, going to all these things that was, part of my business at the time. But, if I look back at it now, it was just all so empty and superficial. And, the creative aspect, of course, is what I love, but I also got kind of pulled into the game a little bit, in the process. And it was my competitive side, my ambitious side that wanted to kind of conquer that world. But looking back, I never really felt like I fit in. I was trying to like put a square peg into a round hole, and it never really worked. Although I was indeed very good at what I did, but it didn't feel soul aligned, But anyway, so I still have a lot of those people from that world into, in my Facebook friends, my Instagram friends, and it's just I thought maybe I could be the bridge for them, leading them over to the other side, which is the side of truth, the side of consciousness, the side of the great awakening here on the planet. Well, it seems that ain't happening. I tried to drop some nuggets into comments here and there. Honestly, I don't like spending time on social media, especially not Facebook, but I thought, okay, it's my duty. Let's do this. And I'm gonna just plant some seeds, and hopefully a couple of them gets to germinate. Well, didn't go down so well, and people think, one person actually told me, like, really, and you're just like embarrassing yourself now, and have you just become this like conspiracy theorist? So guys, I am done. I ain't doing that anymore. It's not good for my vibration, quite frankly, and I think it's a lost cause. So I'm out of there. I'm telling you now. I'd rather have you guys in the community and help you than those people that we're trying to convince that the world is not as it seems. My word, the comments you will not believe. But it does give me a good perspective of what's going on there in Normie Land and how people are still feeling. Even though we feel like many people are waking up, it's very clear to me that many, many people are moving much, much more further away from the truth. And I guess this has got to do with the timeline split, and we've got to accept that. We're going to lose a lot of people, and that's their choice. You can't, you can bring a horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink. You can't force them to do unbiased research. It just ain't gonna happen. So I'm out of there. I bowed out of those conversations, those debates. I'm not there to debate. I'm there to plant seeds of knowledge and truth. And if they don't germinate, well, then I'm gonna look for different fertile ground to provide, this service to humanity. And but I'm telling you, It was very, very frustrating, and I did feel triggered. I'm not gonna lie, I did feel triggered, but now, for health purposes, I'm not going to be spending time on Facebook. I'm just letting you know. But yeah, it just, as I said, it gave me a good perspective of where people are at. These are intelligent people, very successful, top echelons of society, top of their game. They think they made it, they've got it all. I thought so too, until I had my spiritual awakening, and I was like, this is all BS. I want to get out of this as fast as I can, because this is the 3D matrix. But some people, feel comfortable in that 3D matrix. It's Stockholm syndrome. They'd rather sympathize with their prison guards than to find out, to go down that path of the unknown, to pursue the truth, and to pursue that which is beyond their current understanding. But apparently, this is not important for everyone. So, you win some, you lose some. So that's it for me. I'm just like, sorry, but I'm just ranting because this was a horrific experience. Um, anyway, so what's been happening? We've been waiting for those Epstein files to come out. A lot of people are frustrated that it hasn't. Today is the 4th of March. What is the 4th of March? Well, firstly, Trump announced yesterday that he has a big speech coming in front of Congress on the 4th of March, which I think is scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern Time or something like that. And this is going to be big. And yeah, he used a lot of capital letters in that truth. And this is interesting because what else do we know about the 4th of March? Well, the 4th of March used to be the day in which presidents were inaugurated. Not just any presidents, but those that actually served in the organic republic. So the last president to be inaugurated on the 4th of March into the organic republic was I think the 18th president, Roosevelt, on the 4th of March in 1933. So we know that we are going back to a restored republic. Could this be opening the door for that change to come into effect? I don't think it's going to be like, hey, as we know, these little crumbs have to be dropped in little bits. Unfortunately, as frustrating it is for us, because we've been waiting for years. I know how frustrated you are, but you've also got to be trusting that there are things that you don't know what's going on beyond the surface. And believe me, I think these quantum algorithms are showing the white hats that, yeah, the people at large are still not quite ready. So, but I believe we are going to hear something significant today, even if it's not the fact that we're going back, or that the US is going back to the organic republic that existed before the banksters hijacked it and created a fake corporation masquerading as a government to rape and pillage the people of all of their financial means, not only financially, but also the loosh that they got out of the whole thing, and the fact that it was just easier to control people, right? Because they were always in fight or flight. They could never feel that they were comfortable in a comfortable enough place to pursue higher consciousness, because you can't pursue higher consciousness when you're in the lower three chakras. And that's what they spent trillions and trillions and gazillions on over the years, to keep us in those lowest three chakras. Every part of their plan goes back to that strategy, like literally every part. The scarcity, the lack, the fact that people could never really afford to have a comfortable life. It has slowly declined over the years. I remember when my parents, when I was a child, things were very different. We had a holiday house, we had holidays, we went overseas. Today, a family of five can never afford, well, not never, but I mean, most families of, cannot afford to do that. It's just not possible because of inflation. So anyway, I digress. But everything keeps today, including the sexual perversion that they've sort of weaved into our society. I think that's a big part of it as well. The whole porn industry and how that kept people in their lower chakras and actually really cut them off from connecting, through their crown with their higher self and the higher realms. So it's kept humanity limited, almost like an animal. Like when you're in the first three chakras, those are, the animalistic chakras. It doesn't mean that they're not important. It just means that they have to be balanced by the upper chakras. And if they're not, it keeps you almost as low consciousness. What is this thing that makes so much noise? Sorry about that. It keeps you lower, your consciousness lower, and it doesn't allow you to, ascend into higher densities and dimensions. So that's what they did through the music industry, through Hollywood, through, you know, media, through news networks, through the history books, through what they teach us at school, through everything, like everything that is around us. And you can see how that agenda is just picking up speed with what they teach the kids in the schools, the horrific things, like literally. I read the other day it was one of the states. Which state was it? It was at Maine or one of those work states. They were looking to put condom vending machines into a kindergarten school. I kid you not. These were preschoolers. Yeah. So, this agenda is just increasing, increasing, increasing. But, for those of us that know better, we know this movie is coming to an end. That's why we are so chilled, actually, and so happy and content because the movie is moving forward. So don't lose faith now. Guys, it'll take as long as it will take. And you didn't come here to quit, and you didn't come here to complain and whine and, what everything else. You came here to kick ass, and you came here to evolve your own human soul. So do that. Involve your own human soul because, these times of waiting actually allow us the time to do that, and they allow us the space to really dig deep, and we're not just doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for the entire collective. Like when we face old shadows and we let them go, when we face old patterns that we didn't even know we had, or old habits, or things that you didn't even notice about yourself because, quite frankly, they're unconscious. So, we have to move past all of those things because that is what evolution is about. Yes, there are certain quantum leaps possible, but for the most part, you actually need to do the work. Okay, bad news. But this is rewarding work. And it feels good every time you overcome another thing and you grow spiritually. It feels so good. And I love somebody's channel was called, and this lady I'll hopefully have on soon. It read spirituality is the new black, and I love that because I have always been good at sorry about that. Spotting trends. It's one of the gifts that I was born with, and you actually find it in my astrological natal chart. I can spot trends. I can take a 40,000 foot view. What is going on today? And I can read the pulse, and I can see the macro trends developing, and I just have that ability to kind of almost look into the future a little bit and see how things unfold. And I really felt when I was having my own spiritual awakening that spirituality as a topic is so exciting, and this will become the new black for sure. Because we are letting go of the material world. We are walking into the age of Aquarius, which is the age of higher knowledge, higher consciousness, moving away from materialism, co-creating and working together in communities to create a new world. And it also has to do with technological advancement, developing our psychic powers and stepping into our true power. So, it doesn't help that I have an Aquarius rising, does it? So I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with this topic. But we came here to do just that. So don't forget that. We're not waiting for somebody else to come and save us, for somebody else to release the list, for somebody else to come and fix things. We jump right in there and we fix things with the white hats. We don't just leave it to them to do all the work. We have to be part of that process and part of that co-creation, because we have to be part of co-creating our new future, right? Otherwise, if it's just given to us, then how will we learn? I'm not talking about you and I, but the human collective, which if you look at it in the macro sense, we are a very young species in the universe and in the multiverse. So, we like the kindergarten kids, but hey, a lot of us are getting ready for graduation now. So that's why it's so exciting, because we know that and we feel that. So it is just a magnificent time to be alive. Embrace that. Be grateful for what is happening. Things could have been a lot worse, guys. We could have been now in a FEMA 15-minute city camps, or, full totalitarian control with full 1984 Orwell's, that could have been our reality, but it's not. The Great Awakening is picking up speed, even if there is a sector of society that we know may forever be lost. But we find our soul tribe, hey? Isn't that just beautiful? I know a lot of you have felt, or at times, and maybe right now, feeling very alone. But the thing is, you need to go through that kind of lonely period, because that's when you discover yourself. That's when you grow. That's when you dig deep. You need that time, because if you're constantly distracted, you're constantly busy with meaningless things or meeting friends, or you won't have time for that. So being lonely is not a bad thing, because we realize actually we're never alone. We're literally never alone, and we're all connected, and we're always connected. More than anything, we're connected to our higher self, to our spirit guides, our soul tribe, you know, our guardian angels. They are all there. If you had eyes to see, you could see that, like, all of them standing around you, like a whole crowd. Okay, so we're never alone. So just know that. But I think the fact that we are perhaps then looking online for like-minded people, because that we don't find them in our little town or city, or even country sometimes, is something that we all go through. And when there's no one that resonates with us, we go online and we find the people, and they just come across your path. A video will come up on your feed, or somebody that you know will share something, and then you'll say, like, wow, I feel like that's another part of my soul tribe. And you meet somebody that resonates with you, whether it's podcaster, or whatever, spiritual medium, political analyst, or whoever it is. But surprisingly, you will just resonate with that person, and we connect globally, and we build our soul family globally. And also we learn through interacting with them, listening to them, because this is a co-creative society right now. We learn through co-creating. We learn through working with others, listening to others, because somebody else always has a puzzle piece that we don't have. And if they can bring that, we can then level up, and we can get to the next level, the next grade, until we're ready to graduate. So whew, that was a long sort of detour. But I thought it was necessary just to get that out, because I didn't prepare that, but it kind of just flowed through me. Anyway, so we were waiting for this announcement today by Trump, or speech, which apparently will be very meaningful, according to a lot of psychics that have looked into this, and tarot readers. So it's most certainly going to be interesting. But people are asking, wow, what's happening with the Epstein files? Why are they not being released? So you might have heard that this guy who's in charge of where is this information now? He's in charge of the Southern District of the FBI. He's been withholding files and information to do with the Epstein case, and he's now just resigned or been terminated without any explanation. His name is James Dennehy. Okay, so he's just been summarily removed from his position in New York without explanation. Well, I think we can all know why. And what's interesting about him is, I mean, his resignation obviously followed Attorney General Pam Bondi's accusations that the FBI New York office withheld key information in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. But also, apparently, he has been covering up for elite child, and then the thing that goes with that, the trafficking thing, rings for multiple years. And I believe that. So what else has been happening? There's been a lot of gold shipped between London and New York lately. We can see it, we can track it. It is incredible. So there's a lot of things happening sort of around New York, that's interesting. And I'm sure all of this will come out, and maybe this is came out today because maybe it's going to be mentioned in Trump's speech. Who knows? But yeah, so I think we're all looking now for that next move forward. It's like, okay, can we get going now? Because there's a lot to go through. And hopefully that'll give us that impetus so that we can feel like things are still moving as fast as they were. And in other news, the HHS spokesperson, the Human Health Services, unexpectedly resigned as well after arguing with RFK Jr. amid the measles outbreak. So that's going to be interesting as well to see how that unfolds. They're desperately trying to, elevate this whole measles outbreak as a thing in the US. And it's just not a thing. It's just like a nothing burger, another nothing burger. How many outbreaks did they want to launch over the last 2 years? There's been many, 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 from monkeypox, which was such a joke, to bird flu. Sadly, a lot of birds have been killed, chickens, ostriches, you name it, millions of them, which is very, very sad. But all of those attempts to create another sort of pandemic have essentially failed. So they don't have many cards up in their sleeve anymore. But I do hope the whole Zelensky-Ukraine thing gets clarified very soon, because the people over in Normiland believe that, Trump and Vance is just these horrific leaders. That's not an example for anyone. And how could they do that to poor Zelensky? And the flags are flying high again on Facebook. I mean, now you have hearts with blue and yellow, and people saying, I stand with Ukraine all over again. So this thing better be exposed soon, because those normies just are not going to believe us. Like I always said, they're only going to believe it if it's on CNN. So CNN, just force CNN to release that information so we can all go back to, I don't know what, but the division and the polarity is next level at the moment. And I realize that I can't live in that kind of in between, or not in between, but yeah, I'm kind of straddling both worlds, because I'm trying to help the people in Normandyland, and it's just not working for me at the moment. And and I think with the timeline split, there is just no seeing eye to eye at all. Like literally, there's no way that we're gonna have any kind of resonance. There's no seeing eye to eye on this, and we better just accept that certain people are just not going to see what we see, and that's it. So yeah, I'm so done with Facebook. Anyway, but yeah, we know that Ukraine has been used as an HQ by the DS to not only launder a lot of things, a lot of moolah, but also as a base for their experiments, their horrific experiments. The creation of the bio, and the thing that goes after that, the WEAPONS, and then also all the trafficking, which is a huge business. Might I remind you, apart from how horrific that is, it's $1 trillion business. It's very profitable, and many governments around the world participate in that willingly, because there's a lot of money in there. Okay, money talks, greed wins, unfortunately, with a lot of the people. that we have around us today. But all of that stuff needs to come out now with proof. Otherwise, if we can't show the proof or the receipts, then, we will never get anyone else that may be sort of on the cusp of the two worlds over to our side. So in that case, we just need to get on with the timeline split so that we can move on, because I think we're all pretty ready for 5D Earth, everyone on this podcast anyway. So I think we're all pretty ready for 5D Earth. Peace and abundance on earth. Love, peace, and abundance. Right? Anyway, this post read, a view from the couch, the bigger picture, it's all connected. The Epstein's files can't be fully released. Not yet. Why? Because they're just one piece of a much bigger global investigation that's still unfolding. Well, I think it's kind of done, but maybe, the timing needs to be perfect. And all roads lead back to SDNY, the Southern District of New York. Everything is funneled into SDNI. There you have it. The Ukraine deal, the gold shipments back to the US, the cartel takedowns, the human kind of trafficking thing. I don't want to be flagged on YouTube again, so I'm just treading carefully. The financial collapses, the border wars, it's all part of a massive multi-front cleanup operation. And it all traces back to two key executive orders which Trump signed in his first administration, and which was upheld by Biden. Why? Because he's an actor and he works for the White Hats. That's why he never did away with those executive orders, and they're still in place today. Like, I don't know, 5-6 years later, something like that. So these two executive orders, of course, are none other than EO 13818. Oh, by the way, that was actually signed in 2017, and this EO targets global corruption and human rights abuses. And then EO 13848 was signed in 2018, and that is about freezing assets of those involved in foreign election. And then the thing that goes with that, interference. I'm just spacing out the words so I don't get picked up by the algorithms. I know you guys know this. So these orders gave the US the ability to seize assets, dismantle networks, and take down the real power structure behind the human thing, the trafficking thing, the drug running, financial blackmail, and the interferences with the, elections. I just had a thought. Last night there was another $1 trillion wiped out in the crypto market. That would bring the total up to, I don't know, I haven't worked it out, but at least $4-5 trillion over the last few days, maybe weeks, been liquidated from the crypto market. Okay, could this be part of that executive order 13818? Could be. Could be, right? Especially, we know Bitcoin specifically was used for a lot of the transactions, the dark web transactions. It's the only method they could use at the time to kind of not be picked up by, the banks, the government, etc., because it's anonymous and it's, anyway. So could that have something to do with it? I don't know. We'll see. The truth will come out. So just looking at the timeline, the human and then the trafficking that goes with that, the rest worldwide, major bursts were happening recently in Missouri, New Orleans, Los Angeles, Canada, Turkey, Ukraine, Gaza, and this right after major natural disasters and military operations like wars. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, cartel leaders handed over to the US massive drug busts, border tunnel demolitions, and the quiet removal of cartel infrastructure under the cover of the border wall construction. So you can see nothing is as it seems. People just don't understand this operation. And just, rather than be ignorant, people just need to keep an open mind and know that they don't know everything and use their instincts their intuitive abilities to kind of guide them, because that intuitive ability will never let you down. I promise you that. Anyway, Ukraine and the Middle East, infrastructure wiped out, biolabs exposed, billions in aid flowing back into the US under undisclosed deals. Then there's the gold and financial war. Ukraine, Venezuela, and now even Swiss gold making its way back to the US. The banking system is cracking, Credit Suisse exposed for their NAZI gold and money laundering, JP Morgan moving silver. Is the old system being drained? Good question. I think I know the answer. And then there's the COVID thing and the lockdowns. They weren't just about a little spiky thing, you know which one I'm talking about. They froze global movements while operations were carried out behind the scenes. Who was arrested? What networks were dismantled? What did the lockdowns really cover up? You've got to ask yourself. The Epstein case isn't just about one man or one island. Ain't that the truth? It's about the entire global blackmail, trafficking, and financial control system. And now you can see how it's all connected. Now you can see how it's going to connect the dots in Ukraine, in Gaza, with the Epstein list, the Diddy thing. It's all connected because they like to string things together, these deep state players. And slowly but surely, all the pieces are now falling into place. The timeline never lies. It's all part of the same operation. The cleanup isn't coming, it's happening as we speak. So all you have to do is watch the money, watch the arrests, watch the infrastructure disappear, watch the crypto market being liquidated, or big part of it. So yeah. And I know this is not new for many of you, but it's always nice to kind of connect it and see it in a way that kind of makes linear sense as well, you know. So that's very important and certainly very interesting. Now, what else? Now, you guys, obviously, I'm assuming all of you know what went on in, you know, Ukraine. But if you still believe that Russia started this conflict in 2022, then you must be either corrupt, ignorant, or brainwashed. So if you know anyone, you might want to send them that. I did share this post on Telegram. So if you're not yet on our Telegram group, make sure you join. The link is below because there you'll get all the daily updates and inspiration that will keep you going. So the deep state started this war. It was the Obama and then the C three-letter agency that funded the NAZI militant groups to start a civil war in Ukraine and initiated regime change to a C three-letter agency puppet, Yatsenuk. And you will remember there was a color revolution taking place in Ukraine in 2014. So that's when they really kind of stepped up their operations there. They saw Ukraine was a really good place for them to launder and funnel a lot of their stuff, to do all the experiments, to carry out this NWO plan, Agenda 2030, that needed to, you know, really pick up speed at that point. So this was all revealed in the leaked phone call between State Department diplomats and deep state agents, Victoria Nuland and Jeffrey Pyatt. And there was a post shared on that as well. After the Maidan coup in Feb 2014, which is 11 years, 11 years, the US C3 letter agency owned Ukraine via proxy, and the C3 letter agency began using Ukraine as a giant offshore playground for criminal racketeering and money laundering. The U country became one of the giant C3 letter agency bases directly on, of course, Russia's border. So it would make sense, right? If they wanted to take out that massive force of nature, they had to be on the border, right? And that's interesting because this whole story goes back so many more hundreds of years, actually. This is nothing new. Because you look at the Bolshevik Revolution, centuries earlier, and that links up with the Khazarian mafia, and they've been around since the 10th century. It's just an age-old war. Okay, and a lot of people believe actually they are from the Cain bloodline. So, that never went away. It's still raging today. But with the Bolshevik Revolution, because the Bolsheviks were the Khazarian mafia, um, 60 million Russians lost their lives. Why is nobody talking about this? Why is no one talking about this? They then installed the Communist Party. Okay, and now a lot of people are still hung up on the fact that Russia is a communist country, not knowing or understanding the history of this country and this whole region, because it's been going on for more than 1,000 years, like probably a lot more, a lot longer. But I'm just saying, conservatively, in Europe, it's been going on for more than 1,000 years. But yet people are just so ignorant. It's just so frustrating. Why can't people use their brains? Why can't they do some critical thinking or at least unbiased research? Anyway, I shall not concern myself with that any longer. It's now to each and every one to do their own research. This is the age of information. There's no lack of information out there. It's just a lack of willingness to actually do the work. That's all. So, we all have access to the same information. And so, I'm done with that crap now. Okay. I want to just work with you guys, all of you that are awake, and we can just level up and go next level now, creating this new earth. Because honestly, it's a much more fun thing to work on. It's a much more rewarding, enriching thing to work on. So that's it for me. That's where I'm going. Anyway, I always get distracted, but I wanted to just say, so they position themselves on the Russia's border, which is the thing that I'm reading to you guys quickly. Then the US slash NATO began building up Ukraine's army for the sole purpose of one day fighting Russia. NATO began supplying Ukraine with weapons, equipment, missiles, training, intelligence, etc. Also, another thought: what if Trump announces later today that the US will be leaving NATO? That will be very, very interesting, guys. That'll be the beginning of the end, and I hope it's part of that speech. I really do. It's interesting that it's in front of Congress, and they will have an opportunity to comment or participate. So I don't know. I hope this is going to be a big one for us, a big move forward, a quantum leap forward. So I continue. Covert elements within the US government, along with their European partners in NATO, used espionage to overthrow and take control of the nation of Ukraine. That was in 2014, remember. And then they built a massive standing army on Russia's border, then tried to bring Ukraine into NATO and thus start WW3. If you're still buying the official MSN narrative about this conflict, you should not be engaged in conversations. I 100% agree. So tell your friends. Unless you're actually prepared to go and find out the truth and go back really, really far, rather not have this conversation, because you're not the one that is embarrassing yourself. They are, and they're going to find out soon, hopefully. So everything has been a lie that we've been told in all the mainstream media, and you know how the cabal always likes to invert the truth. Well, it's just another example of how they invert the truth, and then they kind of try and get sympathy for their absolute I don't even know what's the word I'm using, worst of the worst puppets, like Zelensky. I mean, come on, he's not just a paid puppet, but he's an actor, he's a comedian. I actually had somebody on Facebook tell me, but Trump is also an actor. Like, are you serious? Trump is a businessman first and foremost, and he created a reality show to teach people how businesses work, okay? He didn't perform in latex and platform heels. He didn't play in a fictional series a president or the president of the Ukraine. Because that's what he did just before he started running. So is that like predictive programming or what? I'm telling you. They just like really prepared the Ukrainian people and say, oh, you know, you've already seen him on TV in this fictional series. Well, now he's going to become the real president. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? Sorry, I just don't have a lot of patience left. Anyway, I continue. Where were I? Oh no, I was actually done. But suffice to say, you know, people really just need to do a lot more research. It's just, yeah, it's just mind-boggling, to be honest. And also from yesterday's news, there's a big fire in South Carolina. I hope my friends in South Carolina is fine. I haven't heard anything further, but this was as of, you know, yesterday morning, a 1,200 acre fire in the Carolina forest. So a state of emergency has been declared, and we wait to hear more. I hope it's not one of the deep state's ploys to distract, because, you know, we have the speech coming up tonight, we have the files being released, we are, you know, we have this Zelensky being booted out of the White House, and now they're looking to bring another distraction. I did tell you in my last episode about the distractions and how they wait for big moments of victory in the White Hat's bigger plan to launch these false flags. Okay, they're so good at it, and you know, it's difficult to know where or what they might be doing because there's so many options really over. I think a lot of the key things are being tightly controlled, but you can't like have your eyes everywhere, right? So we are still in a war, and I think we have to understand that you know, wars are unpredictable, so things are going to happen. But I do believe we are as close as we can be to the end. Now, I love this post that I'm going to quickly read for you. They forget that some of us were born for this time. Oh, yeah. Did they underestimate us? For sure. That some of us have been preparing for lifetimes. They forget that some of us see through the deception and that our spiritual immune system is strong. They underestimate our strength and our resistance to temptation. Oh, yeah. They wrongfully believe that we are attached to our material world and that we depend on it for joy. They forget that we know there's a better way and that we know the path that we are walking on. Yep. That we hold an unbreakable vision of peace and truth. We didn't come here for it to be easy. We didn't come here for it to be comfortable. We didn't come here to build our ego and our name. Although some people in the patriot movement apparently did. Anyway, we'll find out who those guys are soon. We didn't come here to build our material empire. We didn't come here for short-term gains. Ain't that the truth, guys? I think you can all resonate. We came here to change the world, to spread love and unity throughout the hearts and land. We came here to stand for spirit, God, oneness. We are warriors, and I would add, of the light, and we will change the world. The author is unknown, but I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. And then in other news, it looks like we might be close to finally the Iraqi dinar being revalued. I'll read this post from Ariel. So it's almost like I have been telling people that the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar is for the new republic. So the new republic has to be in place before the revaluation. Kind of makes sense, guys. Which basically starts on March 4th with an address from the president on that day, with Kurdistan and Baghdad signing remaining paperwork and resuming oil exports through Soma. So if today is the real inauguration of Mr. T into the Republic, either the public at large is going to know about it, or they may not know about it, but there will be something confirmed on this day. It's going to be interesting. I'm just know what I've learned to know is that the Whiteheads are extremely conservative. They don't rush forward into anything. They take their time. They make sure people are ready, all the things are in place, that they do things by the book, the legal way. Otherwise, the plan might be thwarted altogether. But Ariel continues to say, Ariel, why out of all these years do you have been waiting that they decided to have this meeting on the exact day of the original inauguration day? Why do you think Donald Trump is closing hundreds of IRS offices? Because he doesn't want your capital gains going toward an agency that will not exist after 2025. I will tell you all, and I will say it again. Donald Trump is going to put his foot down on, okay, the post was cut off, but he's going to put his foot down. And I find it interesting that that literally there's a sector of the society that think Donald Trump is destroying the economy. Like, these are smart people. How can they be so disillusioned? We will never understand it, guys. Don't even try to make sense of it, because we live in a different world. We live in a different timeline. Okay? And you choose your timeline. So decide what you want to give energy. You don't have to, circulate yourself with those people anymore. You just don't have to. They're in a different timeline. Don't let them drag you down. Okay? We have to anchor in the highest timeline right now. And whatever you need to do to ensure that is what you need to do. In other news, yay, that's Kanye West just announced that he's going to be interviewing Andrew Tate. And then Elon Musk chimed in on X that the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. It's not the first time he said that. I can't help but think that his new profile picture, go and check it out on X, looks like one of the crypto coins. Which one is it? Oh, I think it's Ripple. It looks a bit like Ripple's logo. Go and check it out. Big shakes are hopefully on the way, guys. We need a big shake-up. We can't wait. And the Yorkshire Last was commenting, we are witnessing the UK, EU and NATO about to be fully dismantled in real time. Gosh, I hope so. Where's Putin in all of this? This is all one-sided, and the warmongers at the War Cabinet are wanting to start WW3. Ain't that the truth? They're not interested in peace. Peace doesn't make money. Okay? How do you launder your cash when there's peace? Doesn't work. And Starmer is announcing a 1.6 billion pound deal for Ukraine to buy missiles. More exposure. The people of England is not going to like that, and they're not going to stand for it. I just have a feeling. All the DS players are being put in the spotlight for the world to see. Things are certainly accelerating. Welcome to March Madness. It's about to get interesting. And you'll know from experience that on the later 17 boards, the Q1, they talk about March Madness. So are we about to experience March Madness? Gosh, I hope so. And then, this is so much to expose. It's going to keep us busy for years, just exposing all of it. And I know a lot of you you've done deep dives in so many of these subjects, like our history, like everything that we know, biology, history, math, sacred geometry, quantum physics, science, everything we've been told. It's just a huge lie. So, we're all ready for things to be revealed, and including the Grand Canyon in the US, which it just looks like a barren canyon, but there's big areas where no people are allowed, which is interesting. And apparently there are lots of ancient cities there that on some maps is certainly very interesting. In 1909, the Gazette shared G.E. Kincaid's story, who rafted down the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon. He tells of how he discovered a cave entrance above the river where he found treasure, weapons, and artifacts. Even though we see these cities on maps from the 1500s and 1600s, mainstream historians claim they never existed. And some of these cities are, there's a lot of when you look at the Grand Canyon, there's a lot of structures that are actually not like mountains. There's said to be a number of temples there, and they do look like pyramids, if I had to be honest, or like at least temple structures. So there's Osiris's temple, apparently Isis temple, the Tower of Set, Shiva temple, Kaiba Plateau, the Colonnade, Buddha's temple, Brahma's temple, and a few others. So so much more to learn, and the whole Tartaria thing that's going to be revealed, and the fact that Russia was where actually, I wouldn't say Tartaria was limited to the Russia area, but certainly that was the height of Tartaria. And also, our friend Richard Cardinal did a cool show yesterday with his friend Gary, where they unpacked Melania Trump, and potentially that she's not only a Romanov, as many of us have speculated, and that means, possibly the last remaining family member of the royal Romanov family of Russia, but also that she is Tartarian, potentially. We know she's most probably off-world, and she's most probably there to kind of guard Donald Trump, if you will. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. We will go into that, but it certainly is very interesting. But to go back to the whole Grand Canyon thing, I did share that post on Telegram, so go and check it out. You can just search Grand Canyon in the search bar and you'll find the post. But there's an old map here that just tells a very different story of what used to be in these areas. Very, very interesting. And I can't help but feel there's like a crest on the map as well, which very much looks a bit like I don't know, a Russian kind of crest. It's got a lion or dragon, or not a dragon, but like a phoenix or something. Anyway, very, very interesting, and I think it's worth diving down that rabbit hole even further. And there's also apparently the 7 cities of Kibola, the cities of gold. The 7 cities of Kibola, also known as the 7 cities of gold, are mythical lands. Yeah, I'm sure it's mythical. Sought by Spanish conquistadors. Why would they seek out mythical lands? Which almost means like it's not real. By the 16th century, the cities were believed to exist in the southwestern portion of North America. Very, very interesting. And you can actually see there on the post I shared the cave opening. It's more like a door entrance, to be honest, when, just off the river. So fascinating stuff, guys. We'll also bring some information on Antarctica soon, which Sarge from Icons is busy also investigating, so that should be interesting. So I think that's it for now. Just to mention, also just to go back to the whole crypto thing, Donald Trump also truthed, I think yesterday, that a US crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the Residential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, SOL, and ADA. I will make sure the US is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. And then later, about an hour or so, he added, and obviously BTH and ETH, Bitcoin and Ethereum, as other valuable cryptocurrencies will be at the heart of the reserve. So it's like, oops, we should include them, right? Although I think maybe they'll go away, those two. Personally, I feel like they might, but who knows? And with regards to the whole NATO thing, already Elon Musk also yesterday, apparently, according to the Daily Mail.co.uk, that Elon Musk was calling for the US to leave both NATO and the UN. So, they like to plant the seeds before they kind of announce something. Well, I think that's a seed right there. And I think that would be an amazing thing. So, yeah. And of course, we had the death of Gene Hackman, which was very suspicious. A lot of people say that he was a top pedo and that he had his own island. And then others say, no, he was undercover working for the light. So it's all just so muddled up and confusing. And the way that they obviously died was very suspicious, because him and his wife and his dog all, were found deceased in the house by the workers. We'll see what happens and see how this case unfolds. In the meantime, we will use our time to, sorry, I've already mentioned that. No, I didn't. This is hilarious. You will love this. There was a post by Watch It Guru. Citibank or Citigroup, third largest US bank, accidentally sent a customer $81 trillion. I kid you not, instead of the $280 that he was meant to get. So I think that's also kind of laying the groundwork for, the whole quantum financial system, where there can be no mistakes, there can be no human error like that. I didn't even know the bank had that much money, to be honest. It just proves to you that actually it's just numbers on a screen, right? They've been doing that for years. They're just playing with numbers on a screen. They don't even have 90% of what they're playing with. And that's kind of what we all know. And that has to go away. That whole thing has to go away, that kind of Ponzi scheme. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to go away. The previous plan of crashing everything may not be as dramatic anymore, because we're also in a different timeline, remember? But they will still need to do away with that whole system. So it'll be interesting to see how that'll unfold. What is the strategy they're going to use there, and how they will get rid of the current fractional banking system, which really is a Ponzi scheme, because they don't hold the money, and they loan us money that they get from our birth certificates. So they don't actually have the money that they're loaning us, nor do they use their own money to loan it to us. So the whole system and Ponzi scheme has to go down, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But I think that's it for me for now. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you know what you need to do, that you need to stay focused, do your own growth and development, because you'll be doing a great favor to the entire world. So keep focused on that, and keep imagining and building new earth, okay? Even if it's just in your imagination, that is also valuable, because your imagination is not some useless thing. It's actually part of the creation process. So don't underestimate it. It's an important part of this next new earth that we're busy manifesting and co-creating. So go out there, do your thing, fulfill your mission, and I will catch you on the next one. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Share it so we can reach more people. Maybe there's still a few sleepers that we can catch and bring into the fray and bring into the new earth. So we'll continue to forge forward. So don't forget to subscribe, like, also Telegram, subscribe there, because that's an invaluable tool and daily communication tool that I know you'll love. So go there and find that. And if you want to subscribe to our newsletters, just go to my website, vividearth.org. The link is below as well. And there'll be a box that pops up, and you can just enter your email address and you can stay updated. At this stage, I don't have loads of newsletters because I don't have a lot of help, and this whole project's been kind of pro bono. It's cost me like hundreds of thousands over the years just to set everything up, and to, my time and energy, the web design costs, like content creation, you name it. But I do it with pleasure because I know what awaits us on the other side. So yeah, anyway, I love you all, and I'll see you on the next one.